I was astounded about how we turned this old, nasty table into this beautiful, custom, modern-looking table with an old world charm. Let me show you the process of how we did it. The wood that we chose was wood from an old barn, and it had that nice barn wood look to it. You can usually find the same exact type of wood or something similar at a lumber shop.
We purchased this table and it had some wicker on top, and it was from Restoration Hardware. And it definitely was not cheap, but with time and 5 kids, the wicker broke, it weathered, and it was no longer working for us. So we decided to take the wicker off, and that's what I'm working on right now. And this is a steel base, which we decided we're going to repurpose. And I'm so excited to show you what we have in store. We have purchased some really rustic, old pieces of wood, about 12, 14 inches wide. And initially we had planned on using them in the kitchen for some shelving, and we decided we're going to go ahead and build a very long 10 to 11 foot long table, rustic looking table, but we're going to use this base as the base. And right now I'm just going to continue to pull off the wicker and take all of the nails, and that's the first step. But really, if you can find anything on Goodwill or on Facebook Marketplace that has a steel base, any type of table that has a steel base, really it could have a wood base, and you can also purchase steel table bases online that you just get the base of the table by itself. You can do this project and you can make a really big table pretty cheap. And the reason why we're going with the steel base is it makes the project a lot easier than having to deal with wood for the structure. So that's why we're using this, repurposing it, and I cannot wait to show you the result. It's going to be amazing. Alrighty, so the first step when you're repurposing something is you got to make sure you get it nice and clean. I'm planning on putting some paint on this, some metal paint, but I'm going to get all of these different little nails and screws out, and I just kind of work them. And you got to make sure it's nice and clean. This, obviously you can see how it's weathered with the wicker, so I decided I want to paint it so I don't have this like checkered look on the legs, because this is steel. I just want to have like a nice solid look. So that's all I'm doing, is going around. I already took the wicker off, but you can see this is what the wicker looked like. And I just gotta keep going around. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this with some water and a scrub brush, soap if needed. You never want to paint a dirty surface.
You'll see here that we have some water stains from storing these outside. We did cover them, but water was able to get in. But there's a pretty quick, easy solution to that, and that is just cleaning it really well. So I'm going to go ahead and clean it and show you how I clean it. I didn't use any soap or product on this. I just used a scrub brush and some water. Once wet, I inspected the wood thoroughly, and I could tell there were some imperfections in the wood that if I were to seal the wood in the end, you could see these imperfections. And I opted at this point to not seal the wood, but to use a matte varnish just to add a little bit of waterproofing, but not use a typical wood sealer. Once the base was fully dry, I began painting it with an exterior metal grade paint of my choice.
the base. It looks so much better. And now it's ready for the top. This matte exterior paint that I used. I'm kind of a big fan of like matte rustic. So that's the color that I used. It's dark, taupey brown. Has a little bit of a gray undertone. I love it. It's really kind of modern rustic vibe. Okay, Brett, tell me what you're doing right now.
So, since we're not joining the pieces of 2x with planer, we are making it rustic. So therefore, we're putting dowels every foot apart between each board, but I want to make them jive as much as possible so we have fewer gaps between each board. So I'm eyeballing the corners to see, are the boards round, are they cupped, which direction they kind of naturally flow. Some are straight and some are a little bit more curved. And that's my first step. I want to know where they go so that I know where I'm going to start marking up my dowel locations.
At this stage, we were using a jig as well as a drill bit the size of our dowels to create holes about 1.5 to 2 inches deep, maybe even a little bit less, closer to 1 inch to 1.5 inches. Then once we take the jig off, we can put the dowels between each board.
Well, when you do any work, make sure that your tools are sharp, because I was using all my weight and I was dying, and I couldn't hardly drill a hole in wood, right? It's not like it's steel, some high-grade steel. So I went to the store, and thank you, Home Depot, and got a new drill bit, and life's good again all of a sudden. Use the same finger to. Get me too.
Here you'll see we have some imperfections in the wood we bought, so it's very important that you buy as solid of wood as possible. My husband wanted to ensure that there wouldn't be any cracking down the road, so he spent a whole week gluing and clamping this one piece to ensure that it won't fall apart in the future. What are you doing? We added glue now to the second side of the dowels, and then put the 2 pieces of wood together and then pounded them together. We used a piece of wood in order to not pound directly on the wood itself for the table. And then here we are shaping the ends a little bit of the dowels because we had a terrible time getting that first piece together. So you'll see the tips here, we are shaping slightly to allow for an easier time putting each piece together. Here Brett is trimming some of the dowels to ensure that they were each the exact same length. We're getting those dowels. Smart to put the chairs there, huh?
I'm drilling the metal frame so that we can put our fasteners through the frame and into the wood. Put it anymore.
Okay. I got fasteners that were specific for metal to wood. One light sand at the end before I put on a matte varnish.